So fairly recently on Netflix, they added The Real Ghostbusters, which is a cartoon from the 1980s, actually. But I used to watch it in the early 90s as a kid. And, fucking ant. And I remember specifically, there was one particular episode as a child that scared the absolute living hell out of me. And it was called The Boogeyman Cometh. So, of course, first episode I click on is this. And I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, you know what? This isn't going to be that big of a deal nowadays. There's a lot of shit that scared me as a kid that, just doesn't bother me anymore and stuff. And I watched it. I'm like, dude, this is pretty fucking scary. He's like this, white, troll looking dude with, sharp ass teeth and, fucking, bright red lips, pointy ass nose. He's got bat ears. He's got hooves, and his fucking head is 2 times the size of his body. And when his head comes through the closet door, actually warps to fit his head, and it's just all you could see is just this gigantic fucking evil, malevolent, face, staring down at the kids. And I'm like, dude, this is fucking terrifying, man. No wonder I was scared when I was a kid. Seriously, I would, cover my eyes. I would be, sort of like this. My mom had to, fucking sit with me for me to fall asleep sometimes. And, I swear to God, I had this, fucking fear that he would come out of my closet, and I would just hear, the sound of his hooves hitting the ground and shit. It was fucking terrifying. But there was sort of this thing with me when I was a kid. I think it kind of evolved into who I am today. I love horror movies, but I could never look away, even when I was absolutely fucking terrified. And children's programming in the 1980s and the 1990s, with shows like Are You Afraid of the Dark and stuff like that, it's there was a lot of really awesomely scary stuff out there. It's kind of a bummer to me because I just really feel that that caliber doesn't exist for kids today. I feel even things that are meant to be, scary for kids, they're extremely watered down. And I mean, I don't know. I just kind of feel that it's okay for kids to be afraid sometimes. I think that there's sort of a fun to being afraid. Don't get me wrong, I think that it's just some people can't handle it. Some people can handle it better than others. It's not everybody's forte. Not everybody likes horror movies, just like not everybody likes comedies or romance or what have you. But I sort of feel that my generation was that type of child that just really, really enjoyed kind of having the boundaries pushed a little bit, And I mean, even from a very early age, I think I was 4 or 5 years old, and my father had on An American Werewolf in London. And there were several scenes where my father was sort of all right, Gabe, you should probably not be watching this. And I was like, no, I'm okay. And I remember there was a dream sequence that the guy had where the nurse was tending to him, and she goes to move the curtain to step out from where his bed is, and there's this fucking guy in a ski mask with a knife, and he stabs her right in the chest. And it was just so unexpected. And I remember as a kid I was like, oh! I mean, God knows how long my mom was up that night trying to get me to bed. I'm sure she wasn't any too happy with him. But it's just sort of I feel that's a very normal thing. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't think that you should let a kid watch a torture porn or a movie with a lot of tits in it or something like that. But it's sort of I don't know, I kind of miss that sort of boundary pushing really truthfully scary movies that are geared towards kids. I mean, every once in a while you get a little something like Coraline or something like that, which is pretty goddamn creepy. If I'm being honest, I would actually probably let my kids watch Gremlins before I let them watch Coraline. No bullshit there. That was a creepy fucking movie. I don't know. Sometimes I just feel and I mean, I've heard this expression somewhere, I'm taking this from somebody, but still, it's how I feel. Sometimes I feel like we were the last generation to drink out of the garden hose and survive.